So it's technically already started, but Sunday it really gets into full effect. Week 1 of the 2019 NFL season. It's an exciting time. Even if you're a Bears fan and you watched your offense, your quarterback, your head coach completely crap the bed in prime time on Thursday night. One game does not a season make, but one game is enough to raise some cause for concern. So, with it being week 1 right around the corner, it is time to give you my weekly picks. They're back for whatever the hell it's worth. How I do it is I'll talk about a few of the matchups, but try to announce all the picks. Talk about the spread, and if I think the team that's favored is going to win and cover, I will just mention their name. If I think the team that's favored wins but doesn't cover, I will say I think this team wins, but I expect the underdog to cover. If I think there's a situation where the underdog not only covers but wins, I will call that out as well. So here we go. I start off Thursday night like gangbusters. Had the Bears -3 over Green Bay. Didn't happen. Oopsie daisies. You know, I'm not surprised. I am, but then I'm not. Because week 1 is such a crapshoot. And in general, doing picks in week 1 is really, really hard to know. Some teams are going to come out of the gate explosive on offense. Some are going to have explosive diarrhea on offense and can't move the ball at all. See, Chicago Bears. You're going off of preseason, last season. You're going off of free agency moves, trades, draft. Really, really hard to pick some of these games. So I'm going to do my best. We'll see how week 1 goes. The early slate of games on Sunday. You got the Titans traveling to Cleveland to take on the Browns. Two teams that are getting quite a bit of buzz in terms of being not only potential playoff teams, but potentially teams that can win their division. Looking at this matchup, I like the Browns to win. I do think 5.5 is a little large in terms of a margin. So give me Cleveland to win, but give me Tennessee to cover plus the 5.5. You've got the Ravens going to Miami to take on the Dolphins, and the Ravens are 6-point favorites. Road team going into a situation in Miami where that team is a total mess. They're clearly tanking. They stink in so many different ways. Totally understandable why Baltimore is favored by 6. And that said, for some particular reason that is unbeknownst to me, I like the Dolphins plus the 6 to win this damn game. You got Fitzmagic starting week 1. You got Lamar Jackson, now going into his second year as a starter, but how much is he going to change as a passer? How's that offense going to look with him? These week 1 games can be tricky. The Dolphins at home, Fitzmagic, new head coach. What the hell? My week 1 result is probably going to be bad anyway, so I'll take the Dolphins to win plus the 6. The Falcons travel to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. The Vikings are favored by 3.5. I'll take the Vikings minus 3.5. The Bills travel to New York to take on the Jets, and the Jets are favored by 3. Should be an interesting early season matchup between two teams that are trying to vie it out for second place in the AFC East, let's admit it. I'll take the Jets minus the 3. Washington travels to Philadelphia to take on the now Carson Wentz-led Eagles officially, permanently. The Eagles are favored by 10. That's a pretty big margin, pretty big spread for week 1, especially because the Redskins' defense is solid. And we seem to be forgetting that the Eagles' offense last year, and the Eagles in general, weren't really that good until the last couple of weeks of the season and then into the playoffs. They were a largely mediocre to underwhelming, underperforming team. I think the Eagles are better than the Redskins. I'll pick them to win, but 10 points is a lot, so I'm going to take the Redskins to cover plus the 10. The Rams travel to Carolina to take on the Panthers. The Rams, even as the road team, are favored by 2 here. Be interesting to see how this team comes out of the gate early on in the season, being the Super Bowl losers last year. Sometimes there's a history of the Super Bowl losers come out and kind of crap the bed the next season. There's a Super Bowl hangover. Sometimes it doesn't matter. See, the New England Patriots. But in this case, a lot of questions here with Carolina. Well, how's Cam Newton going to look? What's this going to be like? I like Carolina in this game. Give me Carolina to win plus the 2. Kansas City, the Chiefs travel to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars and their new quarterback, Nick Foles. How exciting. Yeah, give me the Chiefs minus 3. The late games on Sunday. The Colts with Jacoby Brissett. The Jacoby Brissett era has officially begun in Indianapolis. Yeehaw. They travel to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. I like the Chargers to win here, but 6.5 is a lot. I think the Colts could go out there and make this a very close game. Give me the Colts to cover plus the 6.5. The Bengals travel to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Seahawks are 9.5-point favorites. The Bengals stink, I'm sorry. Road matchup against a team with a franchise quarterback, championship pedigree head coach. Give me the Seahawks minus a 9.5. The Giants travel to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. We'll see how much of a pitch count Ezekiel Elliott has in week 1. Cowboys are favored by 7.5. Well, I don't think the Giants are very good this year. You know, these type of divisional rivalry games in week 1 tend to be a little bit closer to the vest. 7.5 is a lot, especially not knowing what the pitch count's going to be for Zeke. I like the Cowboys to win here, but again, give me the Giants to cover plus the 7.5. The Lions go to Arizona to take on Kyler Murray, Cliff Kingsbury, and the new-look Arizona Cardinals. The Lions are 2-point favorites, and I don't really know why. In theory, they should be a much better team than the Cardinals. But this is the type of game. You got a new quarterback who knows what you're going to get. You got a new head coach. What is that offensive system really going to look like? I'm taking the Cardinals to win plus the 2 here. What the hell, why not? The 49ers traveling to Tampa Bay to take on Jameis Winston and Bruce Arians' new-look Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 49ers are a small favorite here. I like Tampa Bay at home. Give me Tampa plus the 0.5 point. The Sunday night game. Man, if Antonio Brown would have been able to suit up, this would have been a whole different level of exciting. The Steelers travel to New England to take on the Patriots. These tend to be very interesting games every time that they play. You almost hate to see a game that could potentially have this type of magnitude and meaning happen this early in the season, but it is what it is. New England's 5.5-point favorites, which makes sense. They're the defending Super Bowl champions going up against a team that didn't even make the playoffs last year, lost Antonio Brown via trade. You know, there are some serious questions here about the Steelers. But here's the thing. Even though the history of Super Bowl champions coming back and playing on opening night is pretty good in recent years, for the Patriots sometimes they'll have 1 or 2 games that first month or so of the season that they really truly lay an egg. You know, they're figuring stuff out. They're trying to piece it together. And I just wonder if the Steelers are going to be fired up, ready to go, and be able to catch the Patriots napping a little bit in Foxborough. Believe it or not, as crazy as this sounds, because I don't think the Patriots are losing many games this year, I will take the Steelers to win plus the 5.5. So help me God. And one cool thing I guess you would say about week 1 is you get a doubleheader action on Monday night. The first game, Deshaun Watson and the Texans travel to New Orleans, take on Sean Payton, Drew Brees, and the New Orleans Saints. It'll be very fascinating to see how Laramie Tunsil does in his new role as Deshaun Watson's blindside protector. The Texans defense now not having Jadeveon Clowney anymore. The Saints are favored by 7. The Superdome's a tough place to play. I'm not that confident in the Texans. Give me the Saints minus the 7. And then the late Monday night game, you've got the Denver Broncos under Vic Fangio going to Oakland to take on the Raiders. Oh my God, what a dumpster fire of a mess that is. The Broncos are favored here. Yeah, you really expect me to be confident in the Raiders and John Gruden for week 1 with all the distractions and all the disastrous mess that they've put up with here and dealt with? They've been talking about so many other things than actually playing the game. They could go out there and surprise the world, surprise everybody, and they'll be talking about nobody gives you a chance, nobody gives you But I'm just being realistic here. I think the Broncos are a better team. They're free of distractions, new head coach. I think Vic Fangio wins his first game as the head man in Denver. Give me the Broncos to win minus a 0.5 point. You can put your picks for this week's games in the comment section below. And I'll be tracking it each week to see how I perform. Hopefully better than last year, but we shall see later.